On a dark night in Brigham City, Utah, the life of a young man full of promise came to a brutal and senseless end. And for nearly 2 decades, justice would remain out of reach. This is the story of the night shift. Brad Perry was just 22 years old, described as kind-hearted, hard-working, and full of dreams. He worked at his family's gas station, picking up extra shifts to save for college, and for an engagement ring for his girlfriend Laura. On the night of May 26, 1984, Brad volunteered to work the late shift, a decision that heartbreakingly would change everything. Around 3:50 a.m., 2 college students, Saba and Barish, stopped at Brad's gas station for fuel. What should have been an ordinary stop quickly turned eerie. They were greeted by a gas station attendant, unusual for Utah where self-service is the norm. But needing fuel, they went along. They asked for gas, cigarettes, and when the attendant returned, their change was covered in blood. Even more disturbing, the attendant had blood on his clothes and shoes. Frightened, the students drove to the next phone booth and called police. Moments later, officers arrived at the gas station. Inside, they followed a trail of blood to the stockroom and found Brad Perry brutally murdered, stabbed with a foot-long screwdriver, skull fractured by a cast-iron bell, and finally, his skull crushed with a 40-pound soda canister. This wasn't just a crime scene, it was personal. Many officers knew Brad. In a small town like Brigham City, tragedy hits everyone. The investigation began immediately. Saba and Barish worked with a sketch artist, describing a man with dark, empty eyes. Their description led police to a suspect, Thomas Nager. Thomas was the assistant manager at the gas station, supposed to work the morning shift, yet absent. And he resembled the sketch. But as the investigation deepened, doubts emerged. No fingerprints, no physical evidence tying Thomas to the crime. Still, investigators uncovered a critical clue, a hair at the scene. Meanwhile, the Perry family, devastated, left town briefly. Upon returning, they found their home had been burglarized. The suspect? Their neighbor, Craig Martinez, a known troublemaker. Witnesses claimed Martinez arrived at a party that same night with blood on his clothes, and he was known to associate with Thomas Nager. But again, no solid evidence. The case went cold. 11 years later, Detective Scott Cosgrove took over. Unlike others, he wasn't emotionally tied to the victim. He dove into the case with fresh eyes. Cosgrove reviewed every piece of evidence over and over and discovered the hair found at the scene had never been properly analyzed. Testing began, first comparing the hair to Thomas Nager, then to Craig Martinez, but neither matched. Enter Amy Huey, the county attorney, who had been babysat by Brad as a child. She pushed for DNA testing, something unavailable in 1984. The results? The blood at the scene belonged to Brad. But there was more. The blood on the dollar bills, it wasn't Brad's. 18 years after the murder, a DNA match emerged. The name? Glenn Griffin. Griffin, a career criminal from California, matched the suspect's sketch perfectly. His history? Troubled, violent, dangerous. Cosgrove's investigation revealed Griffin's close associate, Wade Mon, a weak-willed follower terrified of Griffin. Cosgrove brought Wade in under false pretenses. At first, Wade denied everything. But when Cosgrove mentioned Griffin's upcoming release from prison, Wade cracked. The truth finally emerged. On May 26, 1984, Griffin and Wade entered the gas station. An argument broke out between Brad and Griffin. It escalated, violently. Wade held Brad down. Griffin attacked, stabbed him, bludgeoned him, crushed his skull. Afterward, Griffin posed as the attendant to serve the unsuspecting students, handing them bloody change. 15 minutes later, Brad was gone. Despite Wade's reluctance to testify, justice prevailed. Glenn Griffin was found guilty of first-degree murder. He will spend the rest of his life behind bars. The night shift, a case that haunted a small town for nearly 2 decades. A reminder that justice may be delayed, but it is never forgotten. If you found this story compelling, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and leave us a comment. We cover true crime mysteries every week. Thanks for watching.